Abuelo and the Nieto, and we are talking Miami sports, covering Dolphins, Hurricanes, Miami Heat, Inter Miami, you name it. We have a Miami legend that we always pinpoint every week, and also the fantasy football, which is my favorite segment of the show. Tyler will have that fantasy football later on in the show. And we have a very special guest this week, right, Tyler?
Yes,
Mr.
we do.
Dave Hyde, the sports columnist for the Sun Sentinel for many years. He's a veteran, just like me. And Tyler, of course, he's the newcomer. He's the Nieto. Tyler, we always like to start with associating a player with our broadcast and, of course, a number with our podcast. And we're with number 9. And number 9, you probably remember him pretty well. Mr. Juan Pierre, number 9 for the Marlins. He played for them from 2003 to 2005, then came back again in 2013. He was also with the Dodgers, the White Sox, the Rockies, the Phillies. 2003, a special season for him when they won the title. He batted 305. He was the leading base stealer in baseball with 65 stolen bases, and he was hitting at 333 during the World Series. So definitely Juan Pierre, a Miami legend. But you have another one, Tyler.
Yes, Miami Hurricanes legend Brian Blades, a part of the Blades family legacy. Obviously, you got Benny Blades, Al Blades, eventually Al Blades Jr. But Brian Blades was a great receiver at the University of Miami, 2 national championships, went on to play for the Seahawks, had an 11-year NFL career, 2 All-Pros. So, was a very good receiver also at the professional level, but definitely a Miami legend for sure.
So we have Miami versus Bills, Dolphins Bills this week. And they more or less have our number. You look at what they have done through the years. Josh Allen, in particular, 12-2 versus the Dolphins. They have won 5 straight against Miami. And Allen, 1,766 yards, 14 touchdowns, 1 INT this year, rating 107.6. And they beat Miami 31-10 last game here at Hard Rock Stadium, starting the season. It was really the second regular season game. But Miami played badly in that game. Besides getting Tua hurt in the middle of the third quarter, Tua threw 3 on INTs in that game, 1 for a touchdown. So you look at the numbers, Miami had over 100 yards more offensive total yardage than Buffalo in this particular game. They had Buffalo had 1 penalty. Miami had like 5 for close to 50 yards. So if they, get down on the mistakes, reduce those mistakes, I think Miami has got a decent shot versus this team coming up, Buffalo. They are 6-2. They're playing great football at this time, but still Miami in a position to play their best game of the year, hopefully. And if they do that, they cut down on those mistakes, I think they have a shot, Tyler.
Like you said, the Bills have been playing good football this year. And I think going into this season, the biggest concern, obviously, Stephon Diggs leaving the team was who's Allen going to throw the ball to? Who's going to be that number 1 receiver? And, up until now, we've seen some guys fill in. We've seen Shakir. We've seen the tight end Kincaid. But, that problem got solved pretty easily, when they traded for Amari Cooper from the Browns. Cooper, one of the most underrated receivers of the past decade. That's somebody that I think if he was on a different team, we'd be talking about him possibly being a Hall of Famer. Obviously, his career hasn't panned out that way, but, still some Pro Bowls, still some very impressive stats. So I think Allen has that number 1 receiver, and that's going to be scary for the rest of the season, not just for the Dolphins, but really the rest of the AFC to have to deal with.
I said 5 penalties for 50, 7 penalties for like 50 yards. That's what we had versus Buffalo. Buffalo just had 1 penalty. That third receiver, he needs to step out also, whether it be Beckham Jr., whether it be Crackraft, he's practicing this week. So having Crackraft back, maybe Sealer, maybe Holland, that would be also very important, very helpful for the Dolphins. We'd like to talk about a Miami legend here in Abuelo and the Nieto. And when we're talking Miami legends, without a doubt, Miguel Cabrera is one of those Miami legends. He won the title in 2003 with the Marlins. 21-year career, 5 seasons with the Marlins, and in his career, we're talking Hall of Fame numbers, Tyler. 511 home runs, 1,881 RBIs, 306 average in 21 seasons in the majors, two-time MVP in the American League, four-time American League batting champion, and 12-time NBA All-Star, 2012 Triple Crown winner in the American League. Without a doubt, one of the greatest South Florida players, Miami players, Mr. Miguel Cabrera. And what always happens with the Marlins, great player, but we let him go, So that is also typical. But we have a very special guest this week in Abuelo and the Nieto. Let's go ahead. Hey, we're extremely happy today on this ninth episode of having a great friend, Dave Hyde, the columnist for the Sun Sentinel, one of the great sports writers in South Florida. That's my opinion, okay? Without a doubt. It started in 1990. 1990, Dave Hyde as a columnist for the Sun Sentinel. But Dave, you probably started sports writing before that, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, actually, I started on my school paper, and even going back, it was a combination. I was interested in sports, interested in writing, and my first job was in Iowa City, Iowa, um, covering the University of Iowa Hawkeyes. Then I came down to the Herald in '85, and worked for the Miami Herald for 5 years. So it's been a getting a really long run right now.
Yeah, we go back with Dave, with Dan Levotar and Wim Pope, those guys. It used to be the times with Rick Weaver and Hank Goldberg used to do the Dolphins. That's how far back we go. Chuck Dowdle, Tony Segredo doing TV sports here locally. So we've been around for a while, Dave. And now we have Dolphins. We have, of course, the Canes going on in their season and the Heat. But I want the grandson, Tyler, to start with you. Tyler, start with Dave covering the Dolphins right now, the situation that we have.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty broad situation. I think the first statistic that kind of jumped out to me was Tua throwing the ball 38 times last game, completed 73% of his passes. So, that's a good sign, but it was 238 total yards there. What is it with this team that is causing them to struggle to make these deep connections that they had last year so often?
Well, I guess it starts with, I mean, you got the quarterback injury, and then the backup quarterback situation wasn't thought out real well. Didn't work out well. But go back to the end of last year, even when Tua was healthy, the latter part of the year, the teams had decided and were successfully taking away some of the deep balls. And you look at, I was out at Dolphin camp today, and they talk about Buffalo's going to play two high safeties, and they do it more against the Dolphins than anybody else. And there's only one reason for that. They don't want Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to get deep on them, because they prefer, if you want to try to have a 10, 12 play drive and beat us, go at it, because we're not going to give you that explosive play. And so I think it starts there. Defenses have wised up a lot, and the Dolphins have to come up with Plan B to counter that.
You mentioned that too high safety shell. Obviously having a third receiver would really benefit from that, opening up the middle of the field and things like that. And kind of thought Odell Beckham was going to be that guy. Obviously missed training camp, didn't start practicing until I believe like late September. Now that he's back, 3 targets in 3 games, do you think as the season goes on, his role might expand a little bit?
Doesn't look like it. I mean, he was upset. He was open a couple of times last game, and wasn't happy that he didn't get the ball. That's the receiver's life, though. But um, it starts here. Why they evidently knew he was hurt, He was 1 year contract. Thought he was going to miss several games. It's a strange signing to begin with. Not now. Can he get healthy? Can he help the season at all? Um, you know, 7 games, no catches isn't the way to predict success at that. And John Smith at tight end presents he's presented a good receiver at times for them and a good option for the quarterback. Whether it's more with Tyler Huntley than, but Tua went to him a couple times in big situations last Sunday. So they got that. They got the running game. A chain has proved to be not only a runner but a really good versatile receiver out wide or inside. So they got some things going for them, but the third receiver has been a real problem for them.
Now, looking at the Canes, Dave, you go back 84, they won their first title. You were around for back then. Now we have the situation with Con Ward, great offense, and some problems on defense, especially allowing the big play. Some people believe that this is a playoff team. We have 12 teams now in the playoff. Are they a playoff team? Can they be successful against the big guys, the Georgias, the Ohio States, the Oregons? How do you see it?
Well, 12 teams are going to make the playoffs. They're ranked in the top 5 right now, so they are a playoff team. And you look at their schedule. It's not a tough schedule, so that's to their benefit. They should win their side of the ACC and go to the championship game. Probably play Clemson, and that'll be a tough match. Now this week, Manny Diaz, the former Miami coach, coming into town, and so with Duke and the 6-2 Duke team, and so this is a team. Miami has the greater talent. The only question for Miami right now, you mentioned Cam Ward. You mentioned that they've won a lot of close games this year. The only question is, do they stumble against a team that they shouldn't? As that's sport sometimes. But Mario Cristobal's got it up and running this year.
The Miami Heat. Everybody's saying they need more offense. They need the 3 big guys, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, and Adebayo, to step up. That was the statements basically made by Mr. Pat Riley. How do you see it? Do you think that those 3 guys can really step up and this team can be competitive with the big guys in the Eastern Conference right now?
Yeah, well, I guess there's 2 questions. One is, can they stay healthy? To step up. And then Tyler Hero's had problems with that. Jimmy's had problems with that last playoffs. So that's one question. Now, are they were 4 games from the 2nd seed last year. So if they take the regular season more seriously and remain healthy, they can be a factor in the Eastern Conference playoffs. They're not at the level of a Boston. Milwaukee's a mystery. Who knows what's going to happen there? They haven't really ever reached their level since they got Damian Lillard last year and even this year. So there's some mystery teams out there. Philadelphia, who knows with them? They got some more talent over the offseason, but there's the Embiid issue. Is he going to ever get in shape and ever be healthy to be a force in the playoffs? So, I wrote a column before the season, don't sleep on the Heat, because everybody's saying, oh, they're a mid to lower end Eastern Conference team. The question with them, are they going to take the regular season seriously to get the kind of seeding they're going to need to have some impact in the playoffs? And I have no idea. After the first game, they came out and they got blown out by Orlando. They've won a couple since, so we'll have to monitor that.
Yeah, and the next game this week obviously is going to be give us an idea more or less where they're at this time at the beginning of the season. Dave, I know you enjoy that Latin flavor, so Latin dishes. What is your preference? What is your number one? I know about Tyler. Tyler loves the vaca frita. He loves vaca frita. He'll eat vaca frita every day. How about you, Dave?
Hey, I know how I look, Rolly, pero el mundo es lleno de sorpresas. Okay, yo he vivido aquí en Miami por 40 años, yo me gusta, me encanta el mundo latino y mi favorito plato, no sé, un pescado con, ¿cuál es the flour that mix, I'm drawing a blank on it, that I put on on my fish when I catch my fish and I put it on the white powder. I can't think of what it's called,
The white
but
the white powder on the fish.
Wondra.
Oh, okay, okay,
And
okay.
so, but yeah, you give me a good, a nice fried fish with some platanos and white beans and white and black beans, and I'm good.
Oh,
That's my
there you
dish.
go. There you go. I thought you were gonna go for the paella or arroz con
Yeah.
pollo or something like that. But
The
with the
first dish I had, the first, remember way back when I had to learn the word ropa vieja. I remember
uh
like going to, so no, I enjoy our city and all it offers.
There you go. There you go. I know about that, Dave. So really appreciate having you here, and hopefully we can do it in the future and be here with Abuelo and the Nieto, brother.
I
Nice
like
having
that.
you.
I like it. I love the title there. So thanks for having me.
Thank you for Dave Hyde for his input into Abuelo and the Nieto. But let's focus on UM versus Duke this week. I think that is 6-2. Duke, they come with Manny Diaz playing good ball, so Miami has to be ready for this game. And Xavier Restrepo, Tyler, has been ready all year long. Right now, he might be the second slot receiver that will be selected in the draft, maybe second, third round. And he's just 119 yards behind Santana Moss for the all-time record in yardage for UM, which is 2,547 yards, and 8 catches only behind Mike Harley for the all-time record in catches in a career for the UM Hurricanes. He caught 85 passes last year, and he's got 43 this year for 710 yards and 6 touchdowns. Restrepo, without a doubt, and he plays the same position that you play. He's a record breaker this year, Tyler.
I'm no record breaker, but yes, he's definitely a very impressive slot receiver. I also think what makes it the most special to me is that he's a local guy. When you look at Miami Hurricanes history, you have guys like Michael Irvin, you mentioned Santana Moss, Andre Johnson. You know, those guys, those are people that are remembered, you know, as the next generation is growing up. Those are people that they see, they try to, you know, kind of replicate their game after. And so it's always very important to get these local recruits, to get these local guys. And I think if these recruits are seeing a local guy dominating, you know, having a pretty solid chance to also get drafted high at the next level, I think that's a good thing for pretty much every party involved. So very happy for Restrepo. You know, I remember when he was at Deerfield Beach High School, was playing quarterback actually. You know, it was just kind of a Swiss Army knife, you know, doing everything for that team. And you could tell that once he got to the college level, wherever he went, very highly recruited player, he was going to dominate, and he didn't miss a beat. You know?
What do we have for fantasy football this week, Tyler?
Yes. So for fantasy football, we got start and sit. The first person I would start is Chase Brown from the Bengals. He might be your, you know, first running back off the bench, but I think it's time to, you know, just make him a starter. You know, it's nothing incredible about Brown. You know, no amazing statistics, but for your running back, you want consistency. You want someone that's getting at least 10 carries a game that'll at least get you in that 10, 12-point range. Obviously, you hope for more, but that's the bare minimum. And Brown is getting fed the ball pretty commonly. And, you know, he's their number one running back by far. They don't really have anybody coming off the bench that's going to be threatening him in terms of carries. Sit, it would be Rome Odunze from the Bears. Nothing to do with his potential, nothing to do with his ability as a player. But when you're playing with a rookie quarterback, obviously he's a rookie as well, but that chemistry needs to be developed. And, you know, as Caleb Williams is, you know, kind of going through some growing pains, kind of figuring out this offense, I don't think any receiver on that team is a safe start. I have DJ Moore on my team. And while I would say, you know, you can keep DJ Moore in your lineup, not a lot of impressive performances from him either. And Odunze has just one double-digit game this season. Yeah, I think he had a 24-point kind of outburst early in the season, but since then, you know, single-digit games, nothing too impressive. So I'd keep him on your bench for now. You know, keep him on your team. I wouldn't cut him, but keep him on the bench.
Okay, Miami Heat, pretty good start to the season. Had the Knicks this week. They played the Knicks well. So the team is looking good, but still, we have the three top horses: Butler, Adebayo, and Hero. And I believe that Adebayo, I keep insisting his level, especially offensively, he has to step up. And if he does that during the season, especially offensively, I think the team is going to be there. The team is going to be competitive. The team has a shot in the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia is a little bit down. They have the problems with Embiid at the beginning of the season. And also Milwaukee is down at the beginning of the season. But it's still too early. We got to give them at least 2 or 3 more weeks to have an idea, where teams stand at this point of the season. Orlando, impressive at the start of the season. So we like what we see about the Heat, but still we need to see a little more. Inter Miami, they go against Atlanta this Saturday. They win. They move up to the next round in the playoffs of the MLS. They're doing very well. They won 2-1 the first game. And there is some rumors about Neymar coming to Inter Miami. He just bought a piece of land here in Bal Harbor, $26 million. I was trying to buy it myself, and I just ran short, like $1 million short. I was, $1 million behind, and he beat me to it. But Mr. Neymar, if you add him to Messi, Luis Suarez, like that, in the middle of next season, we're talking. This is a powerhouse already, but this thing will be unbelievable, Tyler. So I think that's what we have for this week, Tyler. We touched on a lot of subject matter, and we look forward to having you guys join us. And please repeat where we're at, because we are adding social media as the weeks go by.
And this part of the podcast may seem a little bit repetitive, but today we do have a new announcement. The TikTok page is officially open, so have a couple of clips on there. We'll also be posting the full podcast on there. So, those of you who aren't too fond of Facebook can go straight to TikTok for any clips, full versions of the podcast. That's video and audio. And also, obviously, Facebook, Instagram, the Instagram page has gotten going now, YouTube. So, the same platforms as always, just added TikTok now for our more younger, high-tech supporters of the podcast.
There you go. Another Abuelo and the Nieto. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you guys next week. Arrivederci. Hasta luego.